All right, hello and welcome. How is everyone doing on what I hope is a fabulous Tuesday, September the 21st, 2021? We're here to watch the season finale of SeaQuest Season 2. And thank you, John. Now that I've watched this episode, I understand why we needed to swap last week's and this week's episode. Because yes, there is most definitely the end of this episode would not have set up next episode like at all.
That is true, yes. And Thomas says no music.
Was there not? I wasn't paying attention. Possibly not. I might have had that messed up. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, there wasn't.
I'm also getting an echo in StreamYards. I don't know if it's on YouTube or not.
An echo in StreamYards. I wonder. Do I have two microphones? What's going out here? Why do I have two microphones? Is anyone surprised that I'm having audio problems? I am.
I mean, it was fine before you started the stream, but as soon as you started, I started getting an echo.
Maybe if I do that? See, that should remove the echo for you.
Yeah, sounds good now.
Maybe if I do that.
Yeah, sounds good now.
And I don't think.
Yeah, sounds good now.
I don't think I'm hearing anything. Yep, that's good. I don't think I'm. No, I mean everyone's getting an echo because I muted YouTube. But no, it's for once, Jeff. I don't think it's a Windows update. I think it was OBS. Like I've literally changed nothing over here, but for some reason, I have a second audio output, and I have zero idea why it's doing that. And I'm not going to worry about it. Not going to worry about it until well after the stream. Excuse me.
Also glad you made it just in time, Jeff. They just got home from work.
Oh, good. Hey, Jeff. And hey, also to Thomas Potts. How you doing? I did see the comment that there was no music, which, yeah, I see that over there. I think I hit stop on the wrong thing. I do that. But whatever.
And hello, Multigun Man. Thank you for joining us as well.
Yes, thank you. And yeah, hello to whoever the guy wearing the blue shirt is. I'm not sure if I've seen him around recently.
He disappears a lot, so it's hard to remember.
He does, especially around this time of the year. I never do well this time of the year. It's the death anniversary of one of my friends. 27 years ago, he died as of Sunday. And, it's always a rough time, just by coincidence. So this weekend, the reason I was so absent on Discord is my brother-in-law, we celebrated his 40th birthday, which, I mean, his actual birthday was back in August. But we had this big trip planned, went down to Seguin, Texas, I think it is. I can't even pronounce this. But it was this Geronimo resort thing, beautiful river. We went kayaking. The resort was 3 out of 5 stars, like zero internet access, zero Wi-Fi coverage where we were, overpriced for the place we stayed at. The toilet stopped flushing on the last day, but we were leaving anyway. Like there's something wrong with their septic system. Like there's a lot of stuff they need to do. Some new people took over. They're working on getting it up to snuff, to be quite honest. But what the thing that set me off is it was just allergies to high heaven. So Saturday we get down there Friday, and by Saturday morning I am just in absolute misery. I almost came back home. Like we were talking about my wife coming up after us with the kids, and I'd just go home and lie in a pool of my own snot in misery.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful, but I was able to dose me up with Benadryl and Flonase, which is a nose spray to help calm things down, and Singular, just this whole recipe of stuff to combat allergies got me through Saturday. Sunday, the place we were at was like 40 minutes away from San Antonio, where my friend is buried, so we visited his grave. which I know his family loves to see that I can go down there, because it's one of those things where he died when I was 9 and he was 10. And it's one of those things like, does anyone even remember him anymore? And the fact that someone outside of his immediate family still remembers him, they're very happy about that. And so they're glad that I was able to go down there and see his grave. Sorry, I got a weird cable there. I mean, he was my best friend growing up. My son is actually named after him, his middle name. His death was extremely impactful. I'd say it's one of the defining moments of my entire life was his death, and it really shaped a lot of how I view the world now. Now Thomas wants to know what lies I was telling Amy or about us. Yeah, so Amy was on the stream last night.
Indeed.
She didn't make an appearance, but she was in the chat. Or she didn't make a video appearance, but she was in the chat. And apparently was in the chat a lot longer than she is for one of my streams. So I'm like, Amy, I feel a little jealous here. So anyway, the point of the story, that I know I'm kind of rambling, like I was Canuck, which I hope he's doing well. I haven't been able to hang out with him for a while. Rambling Canuck, obviously. But anyway, so we get down in San Antonio. Of course, we remember the Alamo. We go and see it, and I give a short little history lesson about the Alamo, and from there talking about Pyrrhic victories, and that was a great naval battle. Not for Pyrrhic, but for just in general, it was a great naval battle. And so we get back home, and I'm just, this is settling my nose. I have all these allergy stuff going on now. Now you can hear it's like settling my chest. I woke up this morning as I sound like James Earl Jones, like just this deep booming voice. And my son thought it was hilarious because I was doing all these Darth Vader quotes, and he's like quoting back Luke Skywalker to me, and my daughter's just cracking up. And like I can't get my voice to go that low right now. Like if I talk as low as I can go. I was several notes down further than that, and it was hilarious. But so last night I was in no shape to do any sort of stream. I actually I slept on the couch, but not because Amy kicked me out there. Just because it's really nice. Like when you take off the back pillow, you can get in this little nook that has you sleeping upright, and it's perfect. It's perfect for whenever I had these allergy problems. But it's not COVID. This happens to me every time. I get bad allergies. It tries to turn into a sinus infection, then gives up, and then it settles in my lungs because I also have bad asthma, growing up. So unfortunately, that's dims the brakes. But I'm doing okay-ish now. Took a couple puffs of albuterol on my inhaler. Got some guaifenesin in me to try and break this up. Hopefully won't have to do any sort of breathing treatments later on tonight, but we'll see. And I almost didn't do this, but I'm like, no, we gotta do this. We gotta do SeaQuest. And then next week we gotta do our season 2 retrospective.
Yes.
Thomas asked about that a week or two ago, and he's right. We gotta do it. So we gotta do it this week. So I'm like, we're gonna push through. We're absolutely gonna push through. Now, Multi Gunman, how are you doing? He wants to know, was this resort in Turkestan? Because it sounds like a standard Turkestani resort. No, it was in Texas. It's a weird setup. So it's named Geronimo. And obviously that means they're going to try and make this Indian themed. So they have
your heritage.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But wrong Indian tribe.
Yeah, I know.
But they have like these teepees, which you're basically going into a room that's, I don't know, 15 by 15 feet, 20 by 20 feet maybe. It's a small room. It has enough for a tiny little kitchenette area and 2 queen beds. And then no bathroom. There's communal bathrooms. And then you can do a step up from that and get a cabin, which is, it's like a canvas tent that they put some wood around to keep on the inside. That canvas tent on the outside, wooden interior so that you don't get rained on. Still no bathroom. And I'm like, no, we're not doing this. We're going to have our own bathroom. We're going to have our own shower. So we paid for the tree house, which really, it was nice. You know, it has a small living room area, small kitchenette, a small bedroom downstairs, and then like a loft area with two beds. So we were able to spread out our kids. We were able to give them, you know, showers, no bath, but a shower just to like rinse all the pollen and stuff off them. Fantastic time, wonderful time. Rope swing out into the water. Water was like 70 degrees, but you loved it anyway because of how refreshing it was. Spring fed river. It was a 3 out of 5 star place, and hopefully it gets even better. But I'm back now, and I'm very back to be, I'm very back to be glad. I'm very glad to be back where there's internet, so I can hang out with you guys. I'm glad to be back where I can be back in, you know, my home environment, get these allergies under control. Kids are happy to be back. Had a blast. Aiden was living his best life. He went out kayaking. He has a scar now. So he goes out on the kayak and he runs into everything, but specifically tree branches, you know, hanging over the river. And so he got a little scratches, no worry. So we have like this fire pit, and we make s'mores, and wonderful time. We come back, and we all go to bed, and the next morning we wake up, and he has this scar going down from his cheek, and a scar on his lip. I said, Aiden, what happened? Why did you wake up with a scar? And it turns out that last night during the s'mores, he went to blow out the marshmallow and the tong got him. But he didn't want to tell anyone because he was having too much fun, and he was worried that if he told someone, the fun might end. And so he burned himself on the metal fork that, you know, holds the marshmallow in the fire. I'm like, are you kidding me? And someone's like, oh yeah, I saw that happen. I'm like, why didn't no one tell his parents? Like, why didn't you tell your parents, Aiden? Why didn't an adult tell his parents? And so now, you know, it's not bad. You know, it's not blistering. It's just a little 1/4 inch scar. Got it covered up with Band-Aids and Neosporin. And he's like, I don't like the Band-Aids. They look stupid. I'm like, you know what looks stupider? A scar across your face that you got from blowing out a marshmallow. The Band-Aids stay on. So he's healing up. He's fine. But oh gosh, he had so much fun. Like, this was the most amazing thing he could ever have in his life, as far as he's concerned. And yes, Super Bug
toughening him up for the mines.
What's that?
Sounds like you're toughening him up for the mines already.
That's it. That's what it is. Toughening him up. And the annoying thing is, so we're gonna watch SeaQuest. Don't worry, guys. We're gonna watch SeaQuest.
At some point.
The annoying thing is, so Amy slept downstairs with Eden because we didn't trust Eden to sleep upstairs on the loft because it's like this. It's really cramped. So the stairs, they go up and then turn back and then turn one more time. So there's like 1, 2, 3, like 3 or 4 turns to get upstairs because of how compact everything is. And we didn't trust her to, in the middle of the night, not wake up and try and get down the stairs and get hurt. So she slept downstairs in the bed with Mama, and I slept in the other bed upstairs. So the boys were in one bed, I was in the other bed. So I was sleeping right next to him, and I had no idea that he had burned himself because, like, it hadn't developed at that point. Like we left the marshmallow place. We came home. Well, home. We walk across the campgrounds, rinse off real quick, and got into bed. And there's nothing visible. And so we wake up and it's like, oh my goodness, you should have told us. You should have told us. Oh gosh. But he had so much fun. Just so much fun. Well guys, let me let me stop talking about this and get going. Because I've rambled on quite long enough. The whole point of the story is I don't have COVID. I have allergies and asthma, and it's trying to settle into my chest. So I got my water right next to me. I'm going to be drinking it a lot tonight, I'm sure. Whenever I try to clear my throat, I will be trying to remember to mute me so you guys don't have to listen to that. I did take some albuterol, so it is feeling a lot better already. So hopefully I won't be too much. But here's the way it works. I have just dropped the link into the chat for the screening room, and I will pin it now so that if you want to, you can click on that, and I highly hope you do. Excuse me, and you can come to our screening room. And the only thing this does is while we are watching this on this stream right now, you can come to the screening room and have all of our watch times synced up. If you come in the future, I'm sorry, the screening room will not be available. You can go there, but you're not going to see any video. This is as if you went to Peacock TV right now, and we all did the countdown, and we hit play, and we hoped and prayed that we hit play at the right time. This synchronizes it for you. And that way also, if you fall behind, it will actually catch you up. You try to run ahead, it will pull you back. This keeps us synced up within a couple of seconds. So if you're in the future, sorry, it's not going to be available, but good news, everyone. Peacock TV is free. Go to peacocktv.com, sign up for a free account. You can watch all 3 seasons of SeaQuest for free. Or you can go to Amazon and buy it. I would say at the very least, having watched the first 2 seasons, the first 2 seasons are well worth it. Definitely season 1. Season 1 has been my favorite season so far. It is TNG Under the Sea. Season 2 it's been good. Hasn't been excellent, no, but it's been great even. Really enjoyed it. So we'll see what happens with season 3 starting hopefully 2 weeks from now. But all the same, it's worth the buy. It's like $30, I think, for all 3 seasons. Maybe it's $50. I think I may have seen a Blu-ray. I keep forgetting, but I have seen at the very least a DVD version where you can get all 3 seasons, the complete box set. And if you don't like either one of those options, maybe you don't want to sign up for a free account. Maybe you don't have some disposable income. I can't imagine. It's not like we've been locked up in our homes for a year and a half or anything. But maybe you don't have disposable income to buy it. Well, we are going to include clips from the show. Every 3 to 5 seconds, I have a software that grabs a still image from what we're watching, and it's going to throw it right down here, just so that you can have some sort of reference for what we're talking about as we watch it. So with that, we will go ahead and get started. And yes, indeed, Jeff, poor Yosef Petrick, our dear friend from the future, he's just left out of the fun.
And you also skipped the professor's comment about you conspiring with Romulans, which is probably the real reason you're not feeling well.
He says I'm conspiring with Romulans, but I never said that. I never said that. He accused me of it. And all I said was that I find that the Romulans tend to be honest individuals, which,
It's exactly what a Romulan spy would say.
I was going to say, look, I don't have pointy ears, but I literally have a headset that doesn't let you see my ears, so you don't know what they look like.
Exactly.
Which I would have loved to see in Star Trek 4, instead of Spock, ripping off some of his tunic to cover up his ear, if he had gone around with boombox headphones instead, like this. But, hey, I wasn't the director. Nimoy was, actually, the director for...
Yes.
He wanted it to be a lot more Greenpeace than it ended up. Someone overrode him on that count, thankfully, but he still was at least co-director. I think there was another guy he worked with. And Josh is saying, whenever Matthew says good news, everyone, that means it's bad news. You're not wrong.
Yeah, sounds like it.
You're not wrong. And hey, Josh, how are you doing tonight? And John, thank you for letting me know about that chat. I missed several chats while I was pontificating.
Of course you did.
So let me clear my throat here. let me go ahead and give the 5 count, and let's get into this episode. And oh wait, my guess for this episode from last week, you may recall.
Oh yes.
It has something to do with aliens. That was the closest I could get. That aliens Splashdown. Did I actually mention Kurt McCord character?
I don't know if you mentioned him specifically. Just something about space.
Yeah. So I was right-ish, but I don't think a guess that vague counts. I can't give me a win for that one. Sorry.
It's closer than you usually get, though.
It
I'll give
is.
you that.
It's the closest I got to being right. Yes, Professor. Aliens. I'm not saying it was aliens, but aliens.
Exactly.
Because allegedly I was conspiring with the Romulans, but I don't think Conti Trek showed me conspiring. I think that's just a baseless allegation. Yeah. Hey, Trek reviewer, how are you doing? Glad you're here. And just in time, let's get the 5 count and let's get this episode going. So if you're in the future, you'll hit play when I get down to 0. If you're here with us now, don't worry, I'll hit the play button for you as we get kicked off. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hit that play button and let's get going here. So we're getting a quick previously on Dragon Ball Z. And we're seeing the episode where it wasn't the aliens we saw in Season 1, in the first part of Season 2. This was the Mark Hamill alien, which kind of looked like, I still say he looks like Abe from Abe's Odyssey, or Odd's Odyssey, the PS2 game, puzzle game. But he's the general premise was Mark Hamill represented a peaceful sect of these aliens who wanted to stop the expansionism that...
Wait, Thomas says sound. I guess you can hear it through YouTube.
You can hear it. Thank you for letting me know. Hopefully I had that down pretty low. So there we go. That should have fixed the sound. But yeah, so he was a radical. He wanted to be peaceful, which, weird to think that peace can be radical, but sometimes when you're going against modern culture, yeah, peace is radical.
Indeed.
And Thomas, thank you. Good now. So he and I forget his in-name universe characters, but Kurt McCord's guy.
Yeah, Scott.
He went off with Mark Hamill because Mark Hamill is blind in this. And episode off to a strong start, some might say.
Yes, very strong.
But Lewis is showing Darwin some pictures, and Darwin's telling him the name of the fish, and it translates as moldy sneeze. And Lewis is like, he has so many different names for fish, but unfortunately we can't translate them. And suddenly here's Scott, and Lewis is like, am I seeing things? And Dagwood, ever helpful, says, yes, you are seeing things.
And so am I.
But Scott, he's giving them his Princess Leia impersonation. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. I need you to come to the Christmas tree. And he mentioned some girl's name and saying, this is our only chance. But it seems like Lewis saw him, Dagwood saw him, Ford saw him, and of course Bridger saw him. And here Ford is saying it seems like everybody who knew him saw him, which potentially means thousands of people around the world just saw this image. And Ford is saying that the Christmas tree was specifically a message just for him. After last year, the first time we met Scott, when he crashed into the ocean. He crashed into a trench that from above it had so many branching, little canyons underwater that it was like a Christmas tree is what they called it. So this was a message just for him to say, go back to the place where you picked him up, where he crash landed in the ocean. And now the other bit of the message is that the girl's name, who I missed again, she was the RA back in the place they went together, high school, maybe a military college, but Scott had to eat so many of these nasty cookies she had made to keep her distracted while Bridger snuck a girl out the back door, because it was after hours. Girls weren't supposed to be there, whatever the reason. So he said, yeah, you owe me big for this, Bridger, but I'm going to save it for a life and death situation. So now we know where they need to go, and we know it's some sort of life and death situation. And no sooner did they get to the Christmas tree than this giant claw descends from the heavens and picks the entire SeaQuest up. Remember, the SeaQuest is the size of like a football field, 2 football fields. The SeaQuest is huge.
Yeah, it is.
And Professor Brady Specs, raspberry? I hate raspberry. Only one man would dare to give me raspberry. Lone Star. And yes, Shark Reviewer, that is who Scott Keller is. Kent McCord played Officer James Reed in Adam 12, 2 episodes of Dragnet, 1 episode of Emergency, and you're missing it, but he also played John Crichton's father in Farscape, but he only made 3-4 appearances. He also made a appearance not as John Crichton's father, but as an alien who just took the form of John Crichton's father. Oh, that's it, Professor Brady Specs. They were being jammed at that moment, yes.
Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, while Matthew was rambling about that, the SeaQuest just got taken into a huge spaceship and then flew off.
As one does aboard the SeaQuest.
Yeah.
I'm real interested to see who doesn't make it into the next season. Because I do know at the very least that after season 3, Bridger steps down. It became too actiony adventurous for his tastes, and
yes,
and he gracefully stepped down. Which if he wasn't enjoying it, I'm glad that he chose to leave with what it seems to be kind of amicably.
Well, the story that I heard was that the network didn't want him to go, but in order to get out of his contract, he had to agree to appear occasionally as a guest star in the 3rd season.
So they're traveling through a wormhole right now. Which, just, again, imagine a ship the size of the SeaQuest just, going through a wormhole. Oh, Dagwood. Told to hold on to something, so he holds himself. And just look how massive this ship must be with the SeaQuest inside of it.
Yeah. I think the SeaQuest is comparable in length to the original Enterprise, just for a basis of comparison, how huge this spaceship must be.
Okay, so, we're talking an aircraft carrier or battleship size. Thomas is saying that Kent McCord also was in Galactic 1980, which I don't think I've seen that one.
No, I haven't seen it.
And Josh is saying that the aliens only show up when you come back. Darn alien from Omicron, Percy, I hate. So that they're on this planet now, seems to be mostly water, maybe all water, and a kind of a junky little submarine comes up into the SeaQuest view.
The professor says my volume's a little bit low.
Are you? I can fix that.
Oh, thank you.
There we go. So thanks for letting us know, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
So Mark Hamill, love to see him back. I think the beard looked better on him.
I thought the beard looked pretty well, although I'm biased in that department.
True. Like, he has such a baby face without the beard.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, by this point in time, he would have been, I think, older than I am. Like, in real life. So, unfortunately, he doesn't have Scott with him. But he got Scott's message, and we find the leaders of the nation. So you remember the last aliens are all gnarly faced with a mohawk, but these guys are more like albino Klingons.
Yeah.
Oh, Josh, me, you as in me. Yeah, I only come back when the aliens show up. More coincidences? So we're finding out that there are two classes of people aboard this planet, which is Hyperion. You have the gnarly-looking ones who are the soldiers, and then you have the white Klingon ones who are more the intellectuals, the politicians. And Scott's saying he wanted to come, like, they could go anywhere in the galaxy, but Scott wanted to come back here. And he kind of made the assumption that if the aliens were seeking out Mark Hamill's character, they must have been doing so for a reason. Like, there must have been some reason why he suddenly became a threat to them. And sure enough, the threat was that the geopolitical landscape of Hyperion had changed, and they had this growing rebellious movement where you had the population who was the expansionist part, and then you had a growing population of peaceful people, and there was a brewing civil war coming. And Bridger's like, I don't see how I'm supposed to help you out with this war, because they want his help. And we're being told that they're actually not that much more advanced than we are. That their space abilities are only 40 more years in the future than we are. But the real kicker here is that Hyperion was a desert world. That they didn't have the underwater technology the way that Earth does. The SeaQuest, even on this planet that has a 40 years beat on space technology, is hopefully outclassed when it comes to just the SeaQuest. And Bridger is being classic Bridger today. He's not feeling the military aspect here. He's saying, I don't see how this could possibly be our fight. And Mark Hamill is saying, well, look, they're making this base for now that used to be a desert planet. They use this base to grab asteroids, slam it into the ice caps to melt them, and the asteroids were also made of water, which don't read too much into how an asteroid mostly made of water could be slammed into the ice cap without melting first. But between these two events, they've been able to flood the world. But once they defeat the peaceful faction, they're going to take that space station and start to make more of these ships that can travel, across the galaxy. And the first place they're going to come for is Earth.
Naturally.
As aliens are wont to do.
Oh, of course, sure.
And Trek Reviewer is saying that Mark Hamill was 44 years old at the time of this episode. Yes, he is like 7 years older than I am, and yet he looks so baby-faced without that beard. That must have been why they gave him the beard in
Good.
a new Star Wars.
Yeah, maybe.
So Bridger's trying to decide, should they really get involved with this? Everyone's getting their assignments. O'Neill, figure out some way to monitor their radio traffic. Ford, keep your eyes open for enemy attacks. I'm going to go sit in my quarters and try to figure this out. Now, this would have been a great moment to get the hologram of, the little smokeogram.
Right. Or at least talk to Darwin. I'm sure he has some insights.
Would have been great, yeah. But
Yeah.
Instead we see him kind of reviewing old footage of him and Scott. Before B'Elanna Troy comes and rudely interrupts. So Bridger's, he's just waxing nostalgic about his friendship with Scott. That they started off in submarines together, then Scott went off to the space program. Now he's in this cockamamie war. And a hostage at that. Dang fool. Which, I mean, him feeling this way, if this was the first time I saw him having this friendship with Scott, I don't know. I don't think I'd buy it too much. But the fact that the very first time we were introduced to Scott back in season 1, they really took the time to establish, their camaraderie and their, not just camaraderie, but like polite rivalry as well, where they're both trying to get funding.
Right.
They did such a good job in that episode that it allows me to believe him in this episode. But you better come and take a look at this. Has been called. We think we're under attack, and we got like this F-16 type sub under the water. Hey, Robert Rose Jr., how are you doing?
Yeah, welcome.
And this is the best undersea weapon they have, according to Mark Hamill. Which you may recall, by the way, that he was blind last time we saw him. But
that is true.
But they revealed that, he realized that there's kind of no point in being blind when you're not really human and you're not having to put up a facade. And so he kind of got rid of that. Which, I mean, it did strike me as odd that he needed Scott. He's like, well, I need someone who can see to, drive my spaceship. Which is like, well, you're only blind when you're a human, right? I think you could be fine without Scott. But we all know he was really just trying to get Scott to come with them.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure it could be that maybe they decided having Mark Hamill pretend to be blind was insensitive. Maybe they decided they didn't want to, fool around with any of that kind of limitation to ride around it for this episode. But for whatever reason, he can see this time around. Now, thankfully, the SeaQuest is still more superior even than the most advanced sub the enemy has. And easily, does countermeasures and takes it down. And the enemy faction contacts him, and we see Scott. He's alive. He's fine. He's held captive, but at least he's here. But the guy says it's time to say goodbye. And like that, Scott's gone. So, sorry, Kent. Hope you enjoyed playing the character.
Plot twist.
You know, the alien gives a, yeah, what you gonna do about this punk kind of growl, and that's it. And Mark Hamill, he's so apologetic. He says, I'm so sorry. I thought with you here that they'd never dare to kill him. Wait, it just seemed like they just got rid of one of their biggest bargaining chips. I mean, they just saw that the SeaQuest can take them out. Easily take them out. And if they had held on to Scott, I mean, that's like, hey, you stand down or we kill him. You don't go straight for the kill.
Hey, not their best technical decision, you might say.
Yeah. And hey, Daniel's Hot Topics. Wow, 90 shows are dated. The special effects are childish compared to what we got today. I mean, sure, my computer can do better special effects now using a program like Blender.
I wouldn't call them childish, though. It's the best they could do with the technology at the time.
And I'd say that the F-16 sub looked decent, even by today's standards. Now, unfortunately, the charts we just looked at, hopefully the screenshot captured it, is all that's left of Hyperion, a single colony. Everything else has been destroyed. Because, I mean, remember, it was a desert world. It was Tatooine. And now that it's flooded, they're only able to save a very small amount of the population.
And yes, Thomas, Nomad was a great special effect.
Nomad. Not ringing a bell, sorry.
Well, your facts are uncoordinated as usual.
Now, fortunately, the leaders do speak English, but this little punk kid has can only speak alien. And she shows them this little drawing of how she hopes to see the oasis again. You know, before the land was flooded, there was this beautiful oasis, and she hopes that one day she can see it. Jeff is claiming that I'm too busy conspiring with Romulans to know or remember Nomad. Such scurrilous accusations. Ouch.
Or I even wonder if it goes further than that he's taken Nomad, just trying to convert it into a cloaking device. Sounds like the kind of sneaky thing he and the Romulans would be working on.
I don't think Nomad could cloak. Not that I know first, what maybe. Nomad is.
Right.
Ouch, Josh. I never watched any good Star Trek, only the dumpster fire that is new Star Trek. Harsh. I love old Star Trek. I mean, I think I've watched the animated series 50, 60, 70 times. I can tell you everything in them. From the dolphins.
Especially every time a dolphin appeared in an episode.
Yeah. Daniel's Hot Topic saying he recently checked out Hercules: The Legendary Journey. Excellent show from Kevin Sorbo. The King of Thieves. Oh, who played the King of Thieves? I forget who it was, but hilarious guy. And Xenos Warrior Princess. It was cheesy and had bad special effects, but it was glorious, Daniel. Wonderful. I personally like Hercules more than Xena, but they're this great cheese. So here's the big plan, that they want to take down the space station orbiting the planet. And they want to do it by using tractor beams to break up this final asteroid that's supposed to destroy the colony. And if they destroy it, it will break up into 1,000 fragments orbiting the planet and just rip through the entire space fleet up there. The orbital station that the bad guys are going to use to build ships. The station that's being used to tractor in the asteroid. Get rid of it all. And that way they can deal a decisive blow against the enemy. Thomas is saying, or perhaps I was conspiring with someone else in Texas to win Jeopardy. I can't address that, sorry.
Of course you can't.
And Robert, no one is ever too late for Xena and Hercules. It's always a good time, at the very least for Hercules. The legendary journey. Josh is saying that they reused Nomad was a Roman cloaking device when Spock and... Oh, okay. Okay. I, unsurprisingly, had not made that connection.
I didn't expect you to.
See, I honestly, I'm real bad about noticing reused props. I just let myself get completely into the story, and I ignore that sort of things. But I love that other people notice it, because I love seeing those little notes like, oh yeah, did you know that this prop was reused here? I'm like, oh, that's great. Bruce Campbell. Thank you, Robert. That is exactly who the thief was. Bruce Campbell.
And Bridger's saying, before we commit to this course of action, I want to talk to get the other side of the story.
So he's gonna send Piccolo down with Darwin to take a look at the ship that they shot down and try and find some sort of communication module. Robert is saying, Bruce Campbell played the King of Thieves, Life with Matthew. Really? You didn't know that? Are you surprised? Come on now. No, I couldn't remember his name. I knew his face, but I couldn't remember the name Bruce Campbell. Daniel wants to know, did I know that they almost brought back Xena Warrior Princess in 2015 with a reboot sequel, and Lucy Lawless was going to return, but it did not happen? Did it almost happen? Or was there just talks about it would be... I don't know. Thomas is saying I should finish Nomad and add the ball for it to be a cloaking device. That would be hilarious. So, all of a sudden, Tony and Darwin are off the Whisker. Where'd they go? But they decide to break radio silence, try to get a hold of him, and he and Darwin are coming aboard SeaDeck. But they're not saying anything. But they found something. He goes, well, what did you find? He goes, it's not what, it's who. And Piccolo hits Darwin's communicator. He says, okay, bring him up, Darwin. Coast is clear. But clear from whom? It's only the members of SeaQuest here.
And it's Scott.
Scott! He's
decidedly
alive.
Not vaporized. He's decidedly not vaporized.
And he says, Nathan, listen. In case you haven't figured out, you're fighting for the wrong side.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I hope that you are in the screening room, because if you were, you heard the kind of this strange, violin chord that came straight out of a Captain Proton shot. Like it sounded exactly like Arachna said something and dun. But it turns out they were never attacked. The whole thing was a ruse. He's like, didn't the guys tell you about the comet? He says, yeah, they're saying that you're trying to use it to use the war. And he says, but they're lying about everything. None of what they told you is true. Except, it turns out that the people you've been talking to are the Kraytax, the bad guys. He goes, but they don't look like the Stormers. What's up? He goes, well, you've been talking to the ones that were bred to be intellects. But it turns out that this race are the Packlids.
Only a little bit swifter than the Packlids.
Yeah. It's what if the Packlids were kind of smart? It turns out they're looters. Everything they get, they've just looted from other races. And so, well, what about the colony right next to us? He goes, well, there is no colony. That's a docking station for the mothership. And they go, what about the little girl? She's a slave brought down from the space station. It was all an act. You guys were about to wipe out the resistance. They go, why did Mark Hamill go over to them? Well, he didn't. Lies within lies. Trickery upon trickery. You've never been talking to Tobias.
Exactly, yes.
But the one thing they said that was true is that there really is a comet that was incoming. And we need to stop it, or else they're going to take out the resistance and then come after Earth. Daniel's Hot Topic is saying, in 1993, Kevin Sorbo was in a made-for-TV movie called Hercules and the Amazon Women. And that was the first time he played Hercules. There was more throughout 93 and 94 then they did the show, which I do believe he had a guest star appearance on Xena, and they liked it so much they decided to do a spin-off series, is how I recall that went down. So Mark Hamill shows up just in time. Well, the fake Mark Hamill. The one who appeared in Return of the Jedi. Not Return of the Jedi, excuse me. The last... I'm not even going to try. The Force Awakens. But the jig is up. So he drops the disguise. And thankfully, Dagwood is there to, keep him at bay long enough for them to shoot him. And this time, I guess they've upgraded the weaponry since last time we saw him, because they've been able to take him out, at least stun him. He's not dead, but he's at least stunned. Oh, and I got it backwards, unsurprisingly. Xena was on Hercules beforehand, and then they liked her so much that they did a spin-off show for Xena. Okay.
Yes, I just figured that was true since it's the opposite of what you said.
That's the thing. I'm really good about remembering details, but I tend to get them wrong in some crucial way. So I remember that one was a spinoff of the other, I got the exact split up. Now, Jeff is saying Packlids being the main enemy in Lower Decks this season doesn't make sense. They aren't smart enough to be a serious threat. That was kind of the whole point of the Spy Humongous, last week's episode. But I mean, it does make sense that, they got Geordi. The only reason he was able to escape is because, or escaped unharmed, is because the crew of the Enterprise was able to outthink him. So, they steal enough technology, and suddenly even though they're stupid, they still become a credible threat. So now it's time to make a tactical insertion aboard the docking station underwater.
They laser dock. That must be handy to have around.
Just imagine if they had that in season 1. So many times they had to do the blow torching to get in.
Right.
But now it's just like, boop. Thomas is saying both Xena and Hercules were stupid shows. Scandalous. They were cheese. They were glorious cheese shows. I loved Hercules. It was pure cheese, and I loved it for it. Now I don't know where Jim or James and Ortiz are shooting, but if you saw, it looked like they were shooting like up to the ceiling.
Apparently it worked though. I'm sure having sorry. I'm sure having Belana Troy on your assault team will be very useful.
Oh yeah. I mean, is there anything more dangerous than a psychologist?
Nope.
But it turns out they actually have at least a passable reason for her to be here.
Yeah.
She's being a lie detector right now. She says, you know, they want to make sure he's not another clone. So she goes, who are we? No, don't tell us. Focus on your memories of our interactions. And so she's able to scan his memories and see, okay, he's actually legit. And so he's revealing they need to destroy the plasma core because this ship is the only thing keeping the warring race or the warring faction of the race in power. Daniel's Hot Topic is saying 2023, it will be the 30th anniversary of the made-for-TV movie of Hercules and the rest of the movies. Maybe they will bring back Hercules and Xena in 2023 for the 30th. Nothing is impossible. Hollywood is certainly recycling every other old idea they can get a hold of.
Maybe they'll bring back SeaQuest in 2023 for their 30th anniversary.
Maybe.
Stranger things have happened.
Now, is it likely? I don't think so. I don't think so. Thomas is saying that both Xena and Hercules were stupid shows. They were great shows. Well, I didn't like Xena too much, but I loved Hercules.
I don't really have an opinion one way or the other.
Jeff is saying that the other episodes made them seem like a big threat. They did, but see, it also, I mean, it makes sense if they steal enough. Anyone who steals enough technology and creates a big enough fleet can be a credible threat, even if they're stupid. It's just they can't be a credible threat for really too long, and I feel like we're seeing that in Lower Decks that. While there are some skirmishes going on, it's not like it's, you know, bringing the Federation to its knees.
Yes, I think it's probably more like the border wars with the Cardassians, where it's kind of a big deal, like on the fringes of the Federation, maybe, but it's not like the Federation's worried about their falling to the Packlets.
Yeah. And Thomas is pointing out that they're not meant to be a threat. If they were, Starfleet wouldn't have sent Captain Freeman down with only one security officer. And they wouldn't have sent her in the first place to negotiate a ceasefire. Like, she's the C string. She's not even the B team. She's the C team, and that's being generous. Now, they placed the explosives on the plasma device, and they've met up with the other assault team, recon team, but they're just trapped. They're completely being held down by the aliens at this point. And even worse, they just threw a thermal detonator into into the mini sub. And Thomas is saying maybe the pub will be back, but it's more likely Xena will come back sooner. Oh, come on. You miss 1 week just because you're sick, and all of a sudden the pub is never on. It was on just the week before. Now, before he left, Bridger had left Ford with a basically his key to the self-destruct, along with his password. The point being that if things had gone south, he wanted Ford to destroy the SeaQuest rather than allow it to fall into the hands of the enemy faction. And Ford isn't hearing this. He's not going to leave Bridger behind. Instead, he's telling Darwin to go with Lewis, get aboard the other mini-sub, and get away from here. That Bridger had left explicit orders that if things went south, Lewis was supposed to go away and get off to safety. Because, technically he's still a civilian at this point. And Dagwood takes him away because, you can't argue with Dagwood.
It's true. Apparently there's like a tiny piece of land left where they could go and hopefully be safe.
Kind of like Waterworld. There was one island left.
Yeah.
Let's see. Daniel's Hot Topic saying, rest in peace, Kevin Smith, the actor who played Ares, the god of war on Hercules and Xena. He died in 2002. Oh, wow. That was almost 20 years ago now. Robert is saying that he hopes he never brings back Xena and Herc in these days. In this current environment, they would try to make mini statements instead of just making a great show. I do agree. And honestly, I don't think you could make a show that was cheesy like that and fun and just okay with itself in this modern environment. I think they tried to make it depressing and take itself too serious.
And then Ford just armed all the weapons and then making a charge into the station.
But unfortunately, there's one thing they didn't account for. Barrier mines. And O'Neill gets out a cross and holds on to it and he goes, well, I guess they had some underwater technology after all. And did they ever? This one mine hits the SeaQuest. It blows
a huge hole. Yeah.
Yeah. And remember, the SeaQuest has been shown to have extremely advanced defensive technologies where it can take multiple hits from a torpedo. The skin is supposed to be self-healing, and this single mine was so powerful that it has fully crippled the SeaQuest. So the mothership is starting to depart. This is a ship that's going to be able to divert the comet and destroy the resistance. SeaQuest is down. Lewis wants to come back and try and rescue them. He's aboard the the Stingray?
The Stinger, yeah.
The Stinger.
And his dad has to call him one last time to give him an inspirational speech.
And things are looking bad. And remember, they can only stun them. They're actually not killing anyone. At least none of the soldiers. Their weapons just aren't able to kill them. So they got no choice. It's time. They're trapped. They're about to be overrun. So Bridger hits the button, detonates the reactor core, and self-sacrifice moment here. And obviously, this is a reason why we couldn't watch this episode in the correct order. The SeaQuest is down. Bridger has just sacrificed himself along with Henderson and Ortiz and Piccolo, Jim, Brody, just everyone.
Yeah, we got Lewis, we got Dagwood, and Darwin. That seems to be it.
Daniel's Hot Topic saying, I would love a Herculean Xena show in today's world. It would be dark, gritty, edgy, and it would have a great budget. It might have a great budget, but honestly, I don't want another dark and gritty show. I feel like way too many shows are dark and gritty to the point, like, to being a detriment. And one of the reasons that Hercules was such a fun show is because it was campy and cheesy, and it was okay with it. Like, it knew what it was, and it was better for it. But Lewis is saying, look, even we'll do our best to find any survivors, but even if there's no one left, we will carry on their memory. We'll rebuild here, and someday we'll make it back to Earth and carry on their story. Thomas is saying it sounded like Matthew said divert the comment. I'm not sure what about. And then they're saying it's in memory of Carl Schwartz, who was a member of the music team for SeaQuest. Yes. I looked it up. I'm like, who's Carl Schwartz? And there we go. So O'Neill is telling us all about the wonderful sea otter and how much fur it has to keep itself warm, and they're threatened from oil spills, and sea otters are pretty adorable. Okay.
Yes.
Fair is fair. But that's this week's episode. So let's see. I tried to add a new scene in here. We're done with the clips. So let's go ahead and move things over like this. Yeah, there we go. So John, what did you think of this week's episode?
I think there was a ton of things going on in this episode. Obviously, it was very exciting. Although I almost thought there was too much stuff packed into one episode. This could have been easily 2 episodes, I think, with all the new developments and stuff that were going on.
That's a great point. They definitely could have. Like, you could have had... I guess you could have had the... basically up to the reveal of Scott being alive all in one episode. Like, stretch that out and let it breathe. And then have the planning and the assault of the base be a second episode. And I would have enjoyed it.
But you can tell that...
Sorry. Go on. No, go for it.
So you can tell that there's a kind of a final tone to the ending, because there was a possibility this could have been the end of the show, which I think that's one of the reasons why they tried to tie everything up in one episode, pretty much.
Okay. Josh, isn't season 3 episode 1 next week? It's not. Next week we're going to do a season 2 in review. So you gotta wait 2 weeks to see what happens. I have to wait 2 weeks to see what happens. I technically don't have to, but I'm going to. I try to play nice with this.
Remember back in the day, we had to wait 3 months for the next season to start. Did they resolve the cliffhanger or whatever?
I mean, I could try to do that. I mean, goodness knows.
I'm not saying we should do that. I'm just saying, that's how it used to be.
Goodness knows, when we first started doing this, there were several times that it was like a month and a half.
Yeah.
Between this. So, I could do my best. Well, I really enjoy this episode. I felt like this episode was a return to form for Bridger. I feel like this episode also really explains why they couldn't have the big kumbaya that they had at the end of episode 2, where they're all at Bridger's house on the ocean, the seashore there, and Belana Troy was thinking about leaving SeaQuest, and they said, no, stay on. Oh, and is there an echo again? Did I break something?
Sounds okay to me.
Okay. Truck Reviewer is saying that he remembers, or they remember waiting for the season 3 primer or premiere.
Premiere, yes.
Primer, wow. And Josh is saying boo that we have to wait 2 weeks, and Professor Brainy Specs is Matthew curses. He tasks me. He didn't say that, but I know that I task him, so I threw that in for free.
He does say there's a slight echo as well.
Okay. Weird. See, I thought I was hearing an echo, but now it's gone. Huh. I don't know what's up with that. Daniel's saying that the longest time he wondered what happened to Kevin Smith Eries. See, you say Kevin Smith Eries. All I can think of is the Kevin Smith who was in the Clerks movies, and the one who recently redid He-Man. I gotta look up Kevin Smith. Oh, yeah, that guy. I can see his face now. Is it Kevin Smith I'm thinking of even Kevin Smith? Yeah, I'm thinking of the wrong Kevin Smith. But at least I'm thinking of a Kevin Smith this time. And not like, some other completely random name. Okay, so yeah, I enjoyed this episode. I did feel like Bridger was more true to himself. I feel like the crew... I guess that is one complaint I might have. Like you're saying, they could have stretched this out in 2 episodes, and as a result, the crew didn't get much time to be itself. We didn't get a lot of great Piccolo moments, the way we've gotten throughout the rest of the season. We got some good Dagwood moments. Dagwood, true to himself.
Yeah, but it was mostly Bridger. We didn't even have a lot of time to get the other crew's reactions. I mean, not what would in a normal episode. There was like they went through it really quickly, I think, to get to the action part.
Yeah, and
I still enjoyed the episode, but I'm just saying things they could do maybe a little better.
Yeah, I tell you, it's that action part that it was my least favorite part of the episode. When they went in guns a-blazing, pew 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 lasers, and then also just the way that leading up to like the first half of their invasion, every time they saw an alien, just bam, taken down. Everyone hits the target. There's no questions asked. And then, they make it to the plasma reactor. They plant the thermal detonators. They meet back up. And then after that, they don't hit a single alien for the rest of the time. And honestly, I mean, you look at it and you see, okay, what's happening here is they keep reusing the same shot. Just from a couple different angles, sometimes the same angle, but like it literally was the same shot over and over again, just to kind of draw out the ending a little bit. And so that was like, maybe you could have had one scene, one quick scene where they like hit an alien, like just have it where, we got one, yay! But oh look, here's 2 more. Oh no.
Josh wants to know if we would get in trouble if we fire Matthew out of the torpedo tube. Well, it'd be kind of hard to finish the series on SeaQuest if we lose our host.
It's true.
Such as he is.
What depth? I mean, you do it from a pretty shallow depth, and I'd live, right?
Yeah, let's go with that.
I mean, technically, that is how the torpedo was initially shot. Though they used the depth differential, the pressure differential to like push it out of the tube after they flood it. If Darren ever hears this, he's like, Matthew, you are technically incorrect with everything you just said.
Oh, I'm sure.
Now, Truck Reviewer is saying that we should do a special show of SeaQuest on Sunday for season 2. can't do that, unfortunately. Sunday nights now we start up our Awana program at church, so I won't be around Sunday nights to do anything like that. But it would be cool, maybe 8 p.m., which was when SeaQuest would air on NBC. That would have been wonderful, but no, sorry, you'll just have to wait 2 weeks. And that's true, Josh. Amy could always take over.
There you go.
I keep trying to get her to start a YouTube channel, and she's like, no, it's not going to happen. Just no. Well, I think she's like, I don't have anything to talk about. I'm like, you're wrong.
You can just Matthew. Come on.
Yeah. Just life in general. Let me tell you stories about my kid. There would be. She would have so many subscribers, like all these moms who are like, yes, I too am a boy mom who is just so difficult. And not because they're a bad child, but just because they're intense. And that intensity, it wears you out. They're loving children, wonderful children. If you don't have a child like this, it's like, well, are you saying like you don't like your child? It's like, no. We love our child, but they wear us out. But if you have a child like this, you're like, oh my goodness, yes. Like she could have a channel just devoted to that, and she would have like 1 million subs easily. Now Jeff is claiming he's invisible. That's not true.
He said the virtual pub is on Wednesday at 9:45, so in about 23 hours.
Well, I did read that. It's just that's not when it's at, and I didn't want to call you out on it, Jeff. I was trying to let it slide to save you some face. Josh is saying that she's in the shadows waiting for a moment to off me and take over the channel. Thomas is saying a boy mom. Yes, a boy mom. Yeah, I know. In this day and age, a boy mom sounds like a trans thing. No. Before that was ever a thing, it was just a mom who had boys was called a boy mom. Mom of boys. People forget there used to be meanings before other things. Whatever. I can't handle the fact, or I can't help the fact that words have changed meanings.
You could barely handle the original meaning sometimes.
It's true. And Thomas is saying, "Stop telling her we're jerks, you blankety blank." I don't tell her you're jerks. I do nothing but word for word quote you guys. She draws her own conclusions.
You word for word quote us. You can't remember the stuff that you did yesterday.
To the best of my abilities, I word for word quote y'all. Fair, John. That's fair.
That's an oxymoron, but okay.
Jeff, you're correct. I do advertise it on Wednesdays in the video that was made for me.
Yep.
Thomas saying, you do know I have a daughter. Yeah, she's not the hard one. She is not the hard one. No, Amy and I often wonder if our children had been born in a different order, would we have more children? But as it was, the one who is just like me came first, and I'm a difficult person. I'm a
good anymore.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. I am an intense but difficult person to live with. So, I am very thankful that my wife was willing to have more. Yes, Jeff. Wait until my daughter gets older. Yeah, I have heard that little girls are easier when young and harder in the teenage years. We'll see.
Yes, I have a teenage daughter, and I can confirm that.
So, yeah, we'll see how that goes down for me. And Josh is saying, wait until she gets into her teens. Yeah, hopefully she is one of those girls who, beats the boys away on her own. Yeah, there's some girls where they need their brothers to beat the boys off. I fully expect her to be a girl who can beat off the boys under her own abilities. And she's already that way. If you ever read To Kill a Mockingbird, she is Scout through and through. I'm very happy for that. Yeah, Thomas, you can't wait for me to deal with her boyfriends. Yeah. It's funny. We actually, Amy and I are merciless. Mainly me. Amy laughs at my jokes, so I include her in being merciless, but I'm the one who starts it. We saw, we're in San Antonio on Sunday and down by the river walk, and I saw a couple of, I don't know, maybe 15-year-old kids all being goo gaga over each other, holding hands, lovey-dovey eyes. I'm like, oh yeah, you two will totally make it for sure. And she's like, Matt.
I'm such a jerk, Matthew.
But I'm sorry, but statistically speaking, there is no way these kids are gonna make it. And I'm like, look, our kids, I'm fine with them dating while they're, before they go to college, but they have to be able to drive themselves to their own date. Mommy and daddy are not going to drive them so they can go on a date. You can get to know the kid. You can go do church activities and stuff, but if you can't even drive yourself, congratulations, you're too young and stupid to date. Professor, I'm evil. I don't disagree. I don't. I don't.
It's crushing the dreams of couples he doesn't even know.
I'm just a realist, I'm a realist through and through. Oh, gosh. Anyways, final thoughts about this week's episode, John.
Well, it was exciting. It was, a fun way to end the season and leave some plot threads hanging if they do continue. But if they didn't continue, I guess this wouldn't have been a bad way to wrap up the series either.
Yeah, gosh, if they hadn't continued, I would have been left wanting more. And I guess that's the point.
Yeah.
Keep them wanting more, kind of like Best of Both Worlds. They wanted to make sure people really clamored for that next season of TNG. And you could certainly argue that it worked. Perhaps in both their cases.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely would have been sad if this was the last episode. I would have very much felt unfulfilled. I would have felt like they left it on too much of a cliffhanger. Like season 1, they did the same thing. Where they left you like, okay, the SeaQuest has been destroyed. We're talking about rebuilding it. And that would have been an acceptable ending. Like, okay, the show is over, but we all know the story continues at some point. That's fine. But this ending is like, I can't even say that Lewis lives. Like, what happened to Stinger? The Stinger's gone. Now they're in a raft in the middle of the ocean. Okay, Darwin's gonna look out for them, obviously.
Obviously. I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yeah, but I still would have been like, I don't even know if they live. Are they going to make it to the little isthmus with the one last piece of land? Are they going to be able to find food there? Obviously, they're never getting home. He talked about, we'll find a way home, but how? Maybe they could salvage equipment from the blown up ship that brought them there. I guess that's a hard mission for a guy, Dagwood, and Darwin, but
yeah, it would have been difficult, that's for sure. Maybe they could find the resistance and hook up with them. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. I guess I wasn't giving them credit. There is still the resistance out there. And hey, Fluggerville, how are you doing tonight? Yeah, Thomas, maybe they'll be allowed to watch TOS after the day. No, actually, man. So we've recently reshuffled all the rooms in our house. So we got bunk beds for the boys. My daughter's sleeping in a queen bed, so that if our kids hate sleeping. They absolutely hate sleeping. So we still have to go and in the middle of the night and lie down next to her sometimes. But she's actually doing a lot better since we moved her brother out of there. which I'm extremely thankful for. I say that, but she literally, Amy literally had to go up there last night. Anyway, I want to catch a time when Aiden can watch TOS with me, but I can't do that now that Owen's sharing a room with him, because I can't be like, oh, Owen, go to bed, and Aiden can stay up and watch TV shows with me, which I could do. I could totally let him watch like Avatar: The Last Airbender while Owen and Eden went to bed. So I don't know. I gotta find some way to sneak some older shows with my son who can handle it, because Owen couldn't handle it. Like if Owen saw the Salt Monster, he would freak out. He's very sensitive like that. Professor Brainy Sex is sex. Wow.
Wow.
Yep. Yep. I pulled a D's right there, I think.
But anyway.
Professor Brainy Specs is saying, Matthew, you know, my parents met when they were those kids' age. So did my brother and his wife, actually. They were high school sweethearts. Well, okay. They went to church since they were kids together. But they started dating like the senior year of high school, I think is when they officially started dating. And even then, they were just really good friends. And everyone's like, yeah, okay, you're not fooling anyone. You're dating them. Just accept it. Which I've actually long joked that the only time a girl marries a guy that she knew when he was, like, you know, under the age of 10, and even worse if she knew him when he was 13 to 15, you know, kind of the dumbest ages for a guy. That's like a peak male stupidity hits around the beginning of teenage years. And the only way a girl can marry and respect a guy like that is if for some reason, some miraculous intervention, she selects him at that age and says, yep, that's the guy I'm going to marry. And that's what happened with my brother. And a couple friends from my church happened with them too. For whatever reason, the girl she's like, yep, I pick him. And then it works out. But by far and large, you meet at that age. And yeah. But it does happen.
Well,
it does happen.
Yeah, Thomas suggests if you don't want your other son to feel left out, Amy could do something with him at the same time.
Oh, that's a good idea, Thomas. That's a real good idea. Thank you. And Daniel's Hot Topics, a while back ago, I do get around eventually to reading comments, usually 50-50, 40-60. I was recently blocked by someone I consider a friend. I did not do or say anything wrong. The last time I spoke to him, August 23rd, running out of things to say, so I was talking about Doctor Strange, and he blocked you. Weird. Now, to be fair, I don't know who this is. But, like, had he asked you to stop talking about it? Like, it seems weird just for someone to be like, I'm done, blocked. Like, did they ask you to stop and then they blocked when you didn't? I still think that was probably uncalled for on his part. Or her part. I don't know who it is. And yes, Josh Street, I do in fact look after someone. I looked after several someones. I'm just waiting for them to fall into the water so I can have Lucas steaks. What? No. And yes, Fluggerville, you are getting to streams too late. Try and get here early so we can hang out and have fun. And no, the girls aren't getting better treatment. We're very much equal in how we treat our kids. And he didn't warn you, just blocked. That's weird, Daniel. That's real weird of him. I guess that was just a triggering moment for him. For her. I really don't mean to be sexist. It's just, we all know I can't help it.
Exactly.
Oh gosh. Well, guys, thanks. Let's wrap this up here before I'm just going downhill at this point. Let's wrap this up.
I was just waiting for the next rabbit trail you were going to go down.
Oh, that's so easy. See, thank you. Let me go down this rabbit trail.
There you
John.
go.
It's so easy. You guys bring up so many fun points. I love hanging out with y'all, so it's so easy for me just to get... Yeah, y'all mention something, I'm like, oh, that's really great. Let's talk about it. Oh, that reminds me of 15 other things. Let's talk about it. So I love hanging out with y'all, so it's easy to get distracted. But let's go ahead and do it. I need to get some sleep. My medicine's wearing off. So I need to go take some more of that before I start hacking up a lung here. Yeah, shovel for me. I do dig my own holes, do I not?
You sure do.
Oh, Professor Brainspecs wants me to tell how I managed to conspire with the Romulans to attack the U.S. Robinson. You got no proof. You got no proof, man. Because it didn't happen. You're just gonna have to wait, and I'm sure Conti will reveal all the details of the Romulan attack, but obviously it had nothing to do with me. These scurrilous lies and accusations, they gotta stop, right? Oh, he says he has proof. I'd love to see it, because I too am curious. I mean, is this like the Steele report, where you know, the party hired someone to make up some stuff about how they were being monitored, and it turned out it was all fabricated. I'm still interested to see it. We'll find out. And yes, Thomas, if only there was a virtual pub where we could talk about stuff. If only. But alas and forlorn, there's not. The saying is a rabbit trail, by the way, not rabbit trail? Oh, rabbit hole.
Well, yes, there's going down the rabbit hole, but there's also, going off on a rabbit trail. I mean, they have similar meanings, but I've heard both.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Daniel wants to know how you can make another Google account. I don't think it's hard. Just pick a username. Google really doesn't monitor it at all. They're like, yep, here you go. Have fun with this. With that, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. We will, hopefully, most likely, see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, where we are going to do our retrospective of Season 2. And I'm going to have to look at Season 1 to remember how we did it last time. I think we picked our 3 favorites and our 3 least favorites. And they kind of... Oh, and I had to pick my favorite Darwin moments. So, we'll do this song and dance again, and we'll have a lot of fun doing it.
Indeed.
So guys, take care, and we will see you next week.
Good night.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will, and be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.